Hello and welcome to the first episode in a new series of learning the basics of Blender. In this series we will cover the essentials and fundamentals of Blender, from learning the perspective views, navigation and generally everything you'll do in essentially every Blender file. This episode will cover the splash screen as it is the first thing we will come across when launching Blender, so let's not waste any more time and jump straight into it. Every time you open up a new session of Blender, you'll be given this splash screen. So this is Blender's Quick Start Hub. Everything you need to begin a project or jump back into your work is right here. So we've got a top half and a bottom half, so we'll quickly cover the top half. So this will give us our current Blender version that we're running, so we are using 5.2.0 LTS. We also have Blender's release artwork, which changes with every version, and we also have the artist that made it attributed in the bottom right corner of the image. The bit that you're probably more interested in is everything on the bottom half. So we have this that can be split up into 4 sections. We've got new file, we've got open and recovery, we've got getting started, and we've got what's new and donating to Blender. So we'll begin with the new file presets. So these are our starting point. If we select just general, we'll get the scene that we can already see behind us, which will give us our cube, our camera and our lights. If you want to bring the splash screen back, all you have to do is go to the upper left corner underneath the coloured Blender logo on the top bar, select this and then select splash screen. 2D animation launches with grease pencil tools ready. If you don't want to constantly bring up the splash screen to go to presets, we can simply go to File and New, which will give us the exact same presets. So Sculpting is another, in which it will give us a sculptable sphere and the Sculpt workspace. We have VFX, which basically gives us our tracking and 3D viewport, so we can track our footage and then maybe add our CG elements into it. And then lastly, we've got our video editing, which will give us our video sequencer. So now that we've covered this, let's go back to general and bring back our splash screen. So the second thing we'll cover is our getting started. So this gives us 5 preset links for basically navigating Blender, getting support, or even getting involved in the communities. So the first link we have is manual, and this will take us to our Blender manual, and it is the official fully detailed documentation that explains every tool, feature and workflow in Blender. It's great for beginners and advanced users to basically get accurate version specific information. So if we went down to modeling, say, and primitives, we can get everything we need to know about Blender's primitives. The second link on Blender's splash screen is the support page, and this is where we can find our Blender documentation that we've just covered. But in general it gives guidance and answers frequently asked questions. It's a place where we can also report bugs, and we can even find communities. So while we're on the subject of communities, that is our third link, and this basically highlights the global Blender community. It includes forums, social groups. It's where you can ask questions, share your work and learn from other artists. So we've got the Blender Stack Exchange, we've got the subreddit, Blender Nation, Blender Artists, things of that nature in which basically you can get involved, and even over time you may even be able to put your own opinions or guidance towards other people's work. We've all started from scratch somewhere. The fourth link that we've got is basically getting involved, and this is where we can contribute to Blender's development, documentation, translation even, and it's where we have the ability to even donate or basically, buy stuff from the Blender store. And the last link that we've got is the Blender website, and this might look familiar if you downloaded Blender from its website, because that is on the download tab there. But this is basically where we can, learn more. We get the release notes, we can look at the requirements, basically everything we need to know about Blender we can find on this website. So now that we've covered our getting started, we can now look at the rest of our splash screen. So the reason why we covered getting started second is because something's about to change with it, and what you might notice is on the bottom left we've now got our open and recover last session. So this is a fresh install of Blender 5.2, so we have no previous files in Blender 5.2. We can of course open a file from Blender 5.1 that we have, but we'll cover that in a second. So first we're going to primarily focus on our recover last session. So what we can do is we can go to File, Save As, and then just go to our Downloads folder, and then I'm going to call this our first file. And what we can do then is if we close Blender and then reopen 5.2, you'll see that our splash screen has now removed our getting started because it's now been replaced by our recent files. So if we want to open first file, we can click our recent files. If, say, we were working on it last night and now we've opened up Blender today, we can click recover last session, and then that will give us our first file, as you can see up in the top left corner. But if we were to cancel this and then say we've been working on first file in Blender 5.1, we can also click open and then go to first file, which is in our downloads folder, and then it will give us it that way. So that's how we can use the basically recover last session and our open. So now let's cover the final part of this splash screen, and that is the what's new and donate to Blender. So donate to Blender of course will take us to the site in which we can donate to the Blender Development Fund, and then our what's new basically takes us to the page that we saw earlier, which is basically giving us everything we need to know, and this of course is what we saw in our Blender installation guide, in which it was basically saying what is new with Blender 5.2. So hopefully that's covered everything to do with the splash screen, and that ends this episode. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.